There was a lot of pressure going into this game. Arsenal had to win. Arsenal have no room for a mistake or a slip up. Ever since they dropped points and were beaten by Aston Villa, the world and his dog has been baying for their blood, praying that they lose, wanting to call it a capitulation, desperate to say they bottled the league campaign again. Their response since that match has been 4 wins on the bounce. I don't even know. I'd have to go and check this. Have they even conceded in those games? Maybe 1 goal? No. 2-0 against Wolves. Smashed Chelsea 5-0. Of course, they conceded 2 against Tottenham, of course. But they kind of gifted those goals. And then a clean sheet again today. The response has been absolutely phenomenal. And I look at it as a champion's win. These are the types of games that champions have to win. Now, whether or not they become champions is going to be is down to City more than anything right now. Can City handle the pressure? Can City maintain it? Most people will predict yes. But all Arsenal can do from this point, who were never favourites at the start of the season and have never, even when they went top a few weeks ago, they were not, according to the bookmakers, the odds makers, the statisticians, they were not considered the favourites from that point. So all they can really do from now is put that pressure on, and they did. And I know a lot of Arsenal fans are asking for I know a lot of Arsenal fans sort of ask for the sort of, I don't care about the performances, I just want the wins. But what you've actually seen, I think, against Chelsea, for large parts against Tottenham, and for the majority of today, have been pretty stellar performances for games during a title race. Arsenal haven't looked overly nervous. They haven't been, in my opinion, struggling in those games. Some Arsenal fans criticised the Wolves' performance. I thought it was really quite good. The only element today that you would criticise was the lack of clinical edge early on in the game. Yes, there were some good blocks. Yes, there were some great saves from the Bournemouth defenders and goalkeeper. But Arsenal really and truly should have been 3 to 4-0 up by half time. That's how good the overarching performance was. Then the first bit of controversy in the game that comes, well, actually not the first bit of controversy, the first controversy in terms of people claiming that Bournemouth were robbed. And it was a soft penalty. Goalkeeper comes out, makes a challenge for the ball, misses it completely. Doesn't matter then that his leg is planted on the floor. I'm being facetious. Kai Havertz does drag his leg. It's obvious for us all to see. And he goes down. The referee gives it in real time. And we know that VAR is not going to overturn this decision. It's one of those penalties where there is an infringement from the goalkeeper. If Kai Havertz keeps running and lifts his leg, he doesn't make contact. I understand why people are criticizing this. I understand why fans are saying this is not a penalty, he's dragged his foot. But the problem I have with people that are saying that is that when their players do it, they don't call it out. So therefore, I can't take you seriously. A lot of Liverpool fans I've seen as an example on the TL. When Jota went down easy this year, when Salah goes down easy, none of them are calling it out. So there is a lot of hypocrisy in this, but it was a soft penalty. And I think Arsenal, considering the sort of the bad luck they had in terms of putting the ball in the back of the net, that was a fairly fortuitous one, in my opinion. But Bukayo Saka steps up, puts the ball into the back of the net sublimely well. And I thought Saka overall today was absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. A massive performance against a good team in a title race, rounded it off with a goal as well. And 2 goals in 2 games now during a title race. And I'm echoing that and I'm speaking about that because people will soon forget. What has he done in a title race? Did he stand up in any games? Yes, he absolutely did. And he did that today. The second half begins and Bournemouth start to attack a little bit more. And you started to hear the fans get a little bit nervous, the players looking a bit edgy. Can we get the second goal? By the way, this is only the second time this season Bournemouth haven't scored away from home. But Arsenal remain resolute. Arsenal remain strong. And I really like their second goal. There was a little bit of fortune with how the ball ends up at the feet of Declan Rice. But the touch and the swivel turn and the layoff to Trossard was absolutely top class. Trossard, again, clinical, puts the ball into the back of the net. And that was, for me, at 2-0, was game over. And Declan Rice, I've mentioned him there, stand out again. I know that Will Stewart, the Spurs fan, was using numbers from SofaScore. And I don't always take those websites too seriously, because you can have a bad game and score goals and get a 9.9 rating. You could have an amazing game dominating the midfield, but only get a 6.57 rating. So they don't completely accurately depict what happened in a football match. But Declan Rice today putting in another 9 out of 10 performance, and it's every facet of his game. Defensively when needed, keeping the tempo of the game moving, his ability to beat a man, the way he carries the ball. Of course, he set up the opportunity, and then he rounded the game off with a really nice finish from an acute angle. More than to secure it, I think it added that cherry on top of the icing on top of the cake in a game that Arsenal really should have won by 5, 6, 7 goals. If you look at the vat of chances that they created, and he really kind of sealed the deal in a good way, rounded off his man of the match performance as well. And I think, as I say, Arsenal can walk away from this game feeling very happy. They can go and watch Man City versus Wolves. And if there are any mistakes now, as they've gone 4 points clear, they are there to pounce. So they are there to jump. Their next game is in 8 days' time. They play Manchester United at Old Trafford. And look, all they've got to keep doing now, Arsenal, is winning their remaining games and see what happens from this point. But I think they've proven to a lot of people this team has grown. This team isn't the same as last year, where they were going to shrink away into the dark of the night with their tail between their legs and whatnot. They are going to end this season in a title race. And I know that isn't a trophy, and I know some people will criticize that, but this Arsenal team, in my opinion, will improve in the summer in terms of its squad depth, and they will go again next year. And they're as close as you can be to winning titles and winning the major honours without quite getting over the line. It was another phenomenal display. And of course, the other bit of controversy in Bournemouth's favour was the disallowed goal. The disallowed goal was a little bit scrappy, and the referee in real time deemed that Solanke had nudged David Raya out the way. And again, this is one of those fouls. When I saw it in real time, I said foul. When I saw it in real time, I said foul. And then I watched the replays, and 2 of the replays made me feel as though it wasn't a foul. Then 2 of the other replays made me think that it absolutely was, because you see him looking at the goalkeeper, and it was really clever by Dominic Solanke. So clever. And if the referee hadn't spotted it, I think the goal stands and VAR doesn't overturn it. You can always forget about VAR now, and because they very rarely overturn a referee's decision. He looks at David Raya, and what I mean by Solanke was clever is he didn't barge him really hard out the way, which is an obvious foul. He just did enough. If he doesn't touch him, David Raya probably catches that ball, but he does nudge him enough to push him off balance. And we know that goalkeepers are protected. So should it have been disallowed? My answer is, based on consistency, yes, because you can't touch or breathe on a goalkeeper. So it wouldn't be fair for 99.9% of nudges, pushes, little blows on goalkeepers being given as fouls. Then suddenly out of the blue, you don't give one. So I understand why the referee gave it in real time, but I do get the challenge from Bournemouth fans that it wasn't a particularly hard push. But you don't have to touch a goalkeeper very hard, especially when they're about to jump into the air. You always get penalized for it. So I would say that element had consistency to it, which is rare. But of course, the other element of controversy today, which was the first bit of controversy, and I know a lot of people are going in on Arsenal, of Arsenal, and they cheated today. Well, of course, Arsenal didn't cheat, even if you disagree with these refereeing decisions. But of course, the first big bit of controversy today was the Studs high tackle, Studs showing knee-high tackle on Saka, split his shin open as well, that didn't even receive a yellow card, didn't get reviewed by VAR. And I think everybody watching would agree that this is a stonewall red card. If this happens to any of your players, you are asking for a red card. So for me, and this was the first instance of the day, so would Arsenal have needed a penalty to go 1-0 up? If this would have been a red card, maybe not. The game would have gone in all different directions from this point. So, look, I do think VAR has had a poor day today. I do think VAR has had a poor day today for both sides. But the rightful winner still came out on top. And this also demonstrates to me that Arsenal have grown so much. I think Arsenal of 3 years ago plus, they don't get that VAR decision. They miss 4 or 5 big chances. The heads go. That's why I look at them as such a formidable Premier League team now, such a dangerous team, such a scary team for me as a rival, is they're not shrinking violets. They're not weak anymore. They don't, as I say, scutter off under a rock when something doesn't go their way. They stand up, they maintain composure, and they keep going. Are they the finished article yet? You could argue you're not the finished article until you win a major trophy, which is a fair challenge, but they are as close to that as you can be. So, look, as I say, I think there should have been a red card to Christie earlier on in the game. I think Kai Havertz's penalty was certainly soft. It absolutely was. And I think Bournemouth's goal was rightfully disallowed based on consistency. But I'd love to get your views, and I would love to get your opinions on that in the comment sections below.